Well, joining me here on Christmas Clatter, you guys have heard him in a promo. You've heard him share a quiet moment for Christmas Eve. His voice is very familiar to the listeners here at Christmas Clatter. So I figure it's time to spend a little time with Mr. Ken Smith of the Faces to Places podcast, making, I guess, his not debut, but his debut as a guest here. Ken, thanks so much for hopping on with me in this hot July. I hope your summer is going well.
Oh yeah, thanks for having me, Todd. This is a dream come true, man.
We
being
need to
on
dream a
Christmas
little bit
Clatter.
bigger than that.
Yeah, no, that's good, man. Being on Christmas Clatter, something that whenever you asked me to, if I was interested in being on the show, it was like, oh yes, that's so it's something I never thought would happen.
Well, for those that don't know, Ken has a Faces to Places podcast where he just hops on his motorcycle and drives the back roads. He's from the Nashville area, and he'll just head up some county highways and see what he can find. And he has dug up some incredible human interest stories, and links to Faces to Places and everything will be in the show notes. But before we get to that, Ken, we have a big connection with Christmas. That's how we met. Even though your podcast is covers more topics than just Christmas, I can truly tell that Christmas is one of your biggest loves. Where do you think that came from? Did you have Christmas was a big deal when you was a kid, or is it something you kind of latched onto a little bit older?
Well, I always had good Christmases as a kid. I was born and raised here in Nashville, but my parents, both sets of parents, uh, their family was in West Tennessee, like Jackson, Tennessee, north of
Uh-huh.
Jackson, and actually Dyersburg.
Uh-huh.
So every Christmas we loaded up and went to Dyersburg for Christmas. And Santa Claus always found me there, man. No, Santa
Yep.
brought me a motorcycle there one year, man, when I was 8 years old, and he brought me a motorcycle way down there. So, but yeah, so I always had good Christmases. A lot of family in West Tennessee. Um, a lot of food, just your traditional, and it was rural area down there. Country folks,
Mhm.
country cooking and food, and it was all good. More because I'd go to both sets of grandparents, and
Uh-huh.
I'd be stuffed, you know, at my mom's families, and then go over to my other sets of grandparents, and of course they got to force feed you all the
Uh,
turkey and dressing, pecan pie, all that
right.
stuff. So,
Absolutely.
but yeah, and then, but as far as the Christmas, my love for Christmas, then uh, later on, whenever my son was born, I mean,
Uh-huh.
it just rekindled all those childhood memories, and my love for Christmas and the festivities, just everything that goes with the holidays,
Yeah.
man. Not just Christmas, but it was Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Easter, just all that stuff.
Yeah.
Uh,
I understand that because I was always big. I get my love of Christmas honestly from my mom and my dad, but mainly my mom. And I remember thinking it was like my mid 20s or so. I didn't have any kids yet, and I was like, still love Christmas, but it was just like something was missing. Something was different. I thought, well, I'm just older, and then it's like I had my first kid, and I'm like, the magic's back.
yeah.
It's like all of a sudden the magic is back, and it hasn't left yet. But in full disclosure to everybody listening, through Christmas Clatter, I've been able to make friends with people all over the world that do podcasting or interested in that stuff, and me and Ken became fast friends. We have a lot in common, and we probably message at least once a week, if not several times a week, about different things going on and stuff. So if you hear some references of things that you might not understand, it's just because we talk quite a bit and things like that. And one thing I know you really love, and I can see you back there, is you love vinyl records like I do, and you have a few Christmas records. You have a Burl Ives back there that I don't have yet, and
Yeah.
I might have to
Yeah,
come
but
borrow it one of these days. So
Yeah, Burl Ives is these right here. These are probably my three favorites. I say Burl Ives and Bing Crosby, but my two favorites, and of course Perry Como's over
Yes.
here. But I've got this one, man. Look at the artwork on that. Can
Yeah.
you see?
Yeah, I
It
can
is
see it.
it is awesome, man. It's like he's in a Christmas ornament, you know.
Yeah.
So that particular album is up there just for the artwork,
Yeah.
you know. So
Yeah, those are great. Is there um what's your go-to Christmas album, you think?
man, it's probably those two, Burl Ives and Bing Crosby, right there.
And
And
yeah.
you know, and there's Amy Grant. You know, I like
Oh
that
yeah.
one. You know, Amy Grant Christmas, and
Yeah. Yeah.
you
That
know, and then whenever I get the country feels, I pull out a Loretta Lynn Christmas.
oh wow. That's good. That's a good classic country. You can't go wrong with that. Yeah. I always say that Amy Grant, especially that one that came out in the early 90s. That's a highly unrated Christmas album.
It sure is, man.
Yeah, her
Yeah.
rendition of Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas on that album is fantastic. It's one of the best.
But there's so many good ones. All those old Firestone, you
Yeah.
know, Christmas albums are just classic, nostalgic, and just you know, they're all good.
Oh yeah. They just take you to a different time and different place, it seems like. And it just I could talk about Christmas music and talk about it and talk about it. And I feel like I repeat myself all the time, but it just melts me away just thinking about that classic Christmas stuff. And you know, like you said, Burl and Bing and all that. Even you know, it just something about that nostalgia just is too wonderful and too sweet to pass up. You know, for myself. And
Yeah, yeah. There's one album I need to get some Jose Feliciano, the
yeah.
Feliz Navidad. I don't have that, and that particular song there reminds me so much of whenever I was talking earlier about we would go to West Tennessee,
Uh
and
huh.
most of the time it'd be like Christmas Eve we would go there,
Uh huh.
and then it was like a 3 hour drive, and I'm kind of telling my age here, but whenever I was young, the back of the cars behind the seat had there's a big area up there between the back of the seat and the window,
Uh
and
huh.
I would get up there and sleep in that the whole way to West Tennessee, and it seemed like that song played, you know, every 10 minutes
Uh
on
huh.
Christmas Eve. So
Oh
that
yeah.
song in particular reminds me of going down I-40 headed
Yeah.
west.
Oh
So
yeah. Yeah. It's funny how a song gets like that. You know, gets stuck to a memory or stuck to a feeling. And I think that's you know one of the holding powers for for these classic Christmas songs is they you know they do get stuck to your memories or your feelings of Christmas because you know you hear them year after year and it's you know the same time of the year and you're kind of doing the same things and you know Hallmark movies get a bad rap because it's like oh they got to bake cookies and decorate the Christmas tree and wrap the presents and stuff every episode or every you know movie they have, but it's like yeah but that's all the stuff everybody does at you know
yeah,
Christmas time. You know they're you know so it's like what else are they going to do? There's only so many Christmassy things you can do, and
yeah,
so you know those kind of events get tied to those songs like that.
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah. I love those Hallmark movies. My wife's always like, I know what's going to happen. I'm like, shh,
uh-huh.
don't spoil it. You know, I do too, but you don't have to say it. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
you, you don't have to say it.
Oh yeah. I I enjoy them more than I let on. I mean, I know what they are, but and just something about having them on at Christmas time, especially when the house is all decorated. It's just, you know, it just fits. It's just needs to be there kind of thing, you know. And uh, you know, it's something you could put on. It's like decoration for your TV screen. You could put it on and have to pay attention to it. You know, it's not like you got to sit down and digest the whole movie and think about what's going on, and you're not going to miss a major plot point or anything like that. And you can
Yeah,
you know be in and out and just you know do other things with it on. It's they're you know they're great multitasking movies because you can have them on and follow along and be doing something else at the same time. So,
yeah. Well, man, I've got to where pretty much, I guess every couple of weeks, I'll turn on iHeartRadio
uh-huh.
on the classic. Uh, it's the classic Christmas,
Right.
and I listen to that while I'm doing stuff around the house.
Oh yeah.
Just talking about just multitasking. I have that going, and while I'm doing other stuff.
Yeah. See, I was really big into like Google Play Music, and they had a playlist called Cozy Christmas, and then Google shut down the Play Music app and rolled it all into YouTube Music. And it's like the Cozy Christmas playlist didn't transfer over. I figured out kind of a backdoor way of making a playlist with all the songs in it, but it seems like it's a little different than what it was, and I kind of miss that. So I'm gonna have to hunt down that iHeart station and listen to it because
And
it's
man, there's something else I listen to is it's actually on YouTube. It's called Cozy Christmas Cafe. Have you ever
uh-uh.
seen that?
No, I hadn't seen that one. I have to check that
Yeah,
out.
yeah, it's like a Christmas jazz, but
Oh
it's
wow.
like it's just it's animated, but it's like in a cafe, and there's out the window you see the truck drive by every now and then with the Christmas
uh
tree, and the cups of coffee are sitting around with the steam coming out of
oh
them,
yeah.
and you can hear people talking in the background just a little, and that's all it is. And every once in a while you see somebody walk by outside, uh,
Wow.
but it's jazz, Christmas jazz music that you don't hear all the time. So
Really?
yeah, I don't know, it's like 4 or 5 hours of it, something like that. And I put that on and let that play a lot of times, but it's addicting to sit there and watch it. And there's not much happening, but you can't quit staring at the screen.
Yes. We got that way. I can't remember if it's YouTube or if it was on Netflix or what streaming service, but there was like this fireplace scene, the Yule log fire scene, and it had like puppies running around playing, and it was on like a 3-minute loop where they would do the same things. But it was like I'd sit there for hours and listen to the Christmas music and watch these little animated golden retrievers run around, you know, jumping over each other and stuff.
Right. Oh, I understand it. I understand it completely because I'll sit there and wait, and it's funny because it'll have a mail truck drive
Oh
by,
yeah.
and it's snowing outside, and about every 5 minutes the mail truck will drive by, and
Oh
I'm like,
yeah.
yeah, that guy's either on a loop or he's forgetting to where he's going.
Probably a little bit of both. I've done that enough. I've been on a loop and I've been forget where I'm going and like, oh man, I forgot to drop this one off and have to hit double back. So
Yeah.
yeah, that happens. That happens. But, that's funny. That's funny. I see a big old nutcracker behind you. You enjoy collecting nutcrackers as well?
Yeah, man. That's the biggest one I have right
Yeah.
there. I think did I send you a picture of maybe next to a big giant one, or
Yes, I
one that's
think
about as
so.
big as
Yep.
me? Yeah. But yeah, I started collecting those. I just had one or two before my son was born,
Uh-huh.
and then when he was born, I started saying, yeah, Grant's collecting nutcrackers, but it was really me, man. I kept piling them on every time and I don't have any expensive ones. They're just
Right.
like, the ones you find everywhere, but I'll find a fireman, and then I'll
Uh-huh.
find a fisher
Right.
that's a nutcracker. I'll just collect them.
Yeah.
Probably got about 50 of them or
Oh
so.
wow.
And I've been collecting them for 20 years or so.
Oh
So
yeah. I started collecting them not long ago. I only have a couple handfuls of them, but I've considered like the occupational ones like that. But for some reason, I'm like, I don't want those. I want like the classic ones,
mhm.
in the classic soldier suits or the drummer suits. And then I'm real particular too because sometimes someone point out, hey, here's a nutcracker, and it's like, no, that's a toy soldier. They're different, and
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
so it's like I'm a nutcracker snob or something like that. But
I,
it's like I don't want toy soldier stuff. I want nutcracker things.
you want the
You,
real nutcrackers.
yeah, I want the real nutcracker. Even though they're not capable of, cracking any nuts, but
Yeah.
I still want them.
Well, I've been threatening for years to make a big giant nutcracker,
Uh huh.
but I just hadn't got around to it yet. Not enough time.
Yeah, I understand that. I had a lot of plans this summer of I like to, dabble in woodworking and builds furniture and stuff like that. And I had a lot of plans this summer to do a lot of that, maybe sell a few pieces to make some money. And then the price of lumber went up and it's like I'll have to pass this year. And and stuff. And I ended up buying some used lumber, some used 2x12s from a friend of mine, and I'm hoping to be able to, plane it down and spruce it up and, like make a new podcast desk or something out of it. But
Yeah.
I just kind of got it stored right now. I haven't done anything with it, but
Yeah. Well, man, you were speaking of you know the prices of lumber going up in
uh
2020 and all that stuff. That's when I started my podcast,
yeah.
actually, because I had time. I was off work for about 3 months, I guess,
Oh wow.
and I had time to kind of dive into it. But I kind of already got started a little bit, from talking with you and everything about it. And then so that's the time I got started uh, with my podcast. And
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
for anybody that doesn't know, man, the way I got started in the podcast is people around here were telling me, man, you need to do like ebooks or whatever. You need to read short stories
Uh-huh.
with your voice and all that. And so I was like, yeah, I think I'll do that, because I've been told my whole life that I should do something like, along those lines, radio or something with my
Uh-huh.
voice. And then I was like, then I started, reading them like, man, my old country accent, dude, I don't think anybody ever listened to it. And then I started trying to change it a little bit, and that didn't work out. And I
Right.
tried to, so I was just like, well, I just have to keep it like it is, you know, just not change anything. And then I started reading books, and I'm like, man, I really don't like to read after
Yeah.
I'm like, that's what YouTube's for, man. I don't
Yeah.
like to read
Yep.
anything.
Yep.
And
I'm
so,
with you.
and so, so I'll start reading, and I'll start, nodding off and getting tired. I'm like, well, I can't do this. Then, and then I was out there washing my motorcycle of all things. And, it was in July, and I
Uh-huh.
was like, man, I feel Christmassy right now. And so
Uh-huh.
I got on my phone and podcast, and I searched, Christmas podcasts. There was two or three. I listened to two or three, then I listened to yours, and I liked the way your format was. You just had conversations. I think the first one I listened to of yours was that Cabin in the Woods,
Uh-huh.
and I'm like, well, I like this, and so I went back and listened to your first, ones before that. I listened to all of them that day while I was washing my motorcycle, and so I'm like, man, I like this. And then it wasn't long after that when I contacted you,
Yeah.
and
Well,
and then I got to looking at all the Christmas podcasts that were out there, and I'm like, man, there's nothing left.
yeah.
Everybody's talking about it. There's I don't know what I would do, and but at that point I was like, well, I like podcasts, so I think I'm going to do that. So I had to come up with a topic, and I talked
Uh-huh.
to you about that, and I was going to do festivals and parades, that kind of stuff, because I love all that
Right.
stuff, festivals, parades, just anything that's festive. And
Uh-huh.
so, anyways, I didn't know what to do, and I was like, well, I'm riding my motorcycle all the time, and I'm seeing all these cool little towns, and I'm running across people, and you know, just all kinds of Americana stuff that's kind of disappearing. It's
Right.
kind of going away.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a whole generation of young people that don't know about a lot of this stuff. So I'm like, well, that'd be pretty cool, combining the two.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, riding my motorcycle and podcasting too. So after talking with you, I got figured out how I could get set up to record, mobile,
Right.
out in the field, and I just take my stuff with me, and it's been a process.
Yeah. Well, you've done very well with it. And I encourage everybody to go check it out. There'll be a link to it all in the description, but you've done very well. I remember you released that first episode and you even remastered it for your 1 year anniversary. And I remember first time I listened to it, I thought, man, there's nothing wrong with this audio. And it's like you're an old pro at it and such a great storyteller. And you found some very interesting people and topics to cover. And it's a real nice variety of things you talk to. Who's probably one of the most interesting people you think you've talked to on Faces to Places?
Um, wow. Probably the most interesting is Andy, the guy that owns Leatherwood Distillery. I mean, just about everybody I run across has been interesting. That's the reason
Right.
I've podcasted with him.
Right.
But Andy, he owns this distillery. It's like a micro brewery just for beer,
Uh-huh.
but it's for whiskey.
Oh, wow.
For whiskey, bourbon, and I mean, I don't even drink, but I just went there for the story. And
Uh-huh.
but he's like a 24-year veteran, Green Beret,
Oh, wow.
and he had some great stories. The reason I went there because they were making moonshine up in the mountains of Afghanistan. Whenever he was stationed over there, they would have the feeds. They had mules to get all their gear up in the mountains
Uh-huh.
where they were stationed, and Green Berets are in teams of 12, and they would have their feed airdropped in by helicopter, the parachute. And they would take the corn, the sweet corn, and
Uh-huh.
make the moonshine with it, and they would feed the mash to the mules when they got through.
Oh, wow.
So he had so many good stories. He had a
Wow.
little deployment still that he would take with him, but anyway, he was very interesting, and uh shoot, I don't know, man. See, I guess the barbecue. Oh God, what was his name? I forgot now. See, oh yeah, Zach Parker. Sorry,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that
I
was
forget.
early on. That was like
Yeah,
episode 3 or something like that. 2 or 3.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Zach Parker. I mean, we got to talking about fishing and off the air and all kinds of stuff, and because that's in West Tennessee, kind of in the area, uh, where my family's from down
Uh-huh.
there, and not too far from there. See that's what I do, and I love about doing the podcast is if I can, my format is I do tell a little story or commentary at the beginning, and then I go and do the interview. Because I actually do it the opposite. I do the interviews first,
Uh-huh.
and then when I get back home in the studio, if something in my life I can relate to
Uh-huh.
what the interview was, or I'll tell a story that goes along with the interview,
Uh-huh.
or I'll just do some history,
Right.
that goes along with the interview. So with Zach, it was my dad. We used to go fishing on the Tennessee River. It's just pretty close to where Lexington, Tennessee is, and it's a little place called Apple Tree, Tennessee.
Uh-huh.
And there was a little barbecue joint that was right on the side of the road. And like I said in the podcast, it didn't even have a parking lot, man. It was just a cinder block building, and there was one guy worked in there, and you just pulled over on the side of the road, and it was way back off on the back roads. And
Right.
so, anyways, I just tell stories like that if I have something to relate to the interview, and but I guess that was one of the most interesting guys probably.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's a great thing about your podcast. I know you were interested in doing something Christmas and things, but with Faces Places, you can bump into Christmas and bump out of Christmas or any other holidays you want to talk about pretty easy. And little birdie told me that you might be having a Christmas episode coming up real soon, uh, about a local place.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's called the Incredible Christmas Store, and it's in Mount Juliet, Tennessee, which is it's not far from here. No, the Incredible Christmas. So is it? Hold on, I got it written down. Is it Christmas Store, Christmas Place, Christmas Store? Yeah, the Incredible Christmas Store,
Uh-huh.
and it just opened, and it's the second one. They have one in Gatlinburg. It's a
Right.
family-owned Christmas store.
Right.
But man, it's incredible. It's incredible because I'd ride my motorcycle out there. I bet I went through there by there 20 times, seeing if it was open and seeing seeing if seeing what was going on
Yeah.
inside and that kind of things. I would drive by there all the time just looking. And when it opened, I went there, and I've been there probably 5 times just walking around looking at stuff, and I bought a few things there already. But
Yeah.
but I talked to Cody, the manager. Yeah, so we're gonna go back. I'm gonna go back to do a podcast to there, and he's gonna talk about it. Uh, give us a tour through there.
Oh, that'd be
So
great.
that's gonna be pretty awesome.
I've been the same way with the Yule Log Cabin. Of course, they open up right before Labor Day there, and that's kind of became our Labor Day tradition. Is we'll get together, have a cookout, for lunch or whatever, and then load up in the car and I'll drive out to the log cabin and get some Christmas ornaments and see what's new out there and talk with Joni, the owner, and all that stuff. So there's times I'll just drive out there and just walk around just to be out in it,
Yeah.
especially once the weather changes and it gets a little cooler and stuff. And it's not so, summer's still not hanging on like it typically is around Labor Day. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, if I had, I know that store in Gatlinburg pretty well. I've never been to it, but my mom's been to it many times, and every time they go to Gatlinburg, she's in there probably once every day. She's like, every time you go in there, you find something new, So
Yeah. Yeah, that was the first thing I bought was I didn't have one of Santa Claus. I like coffee mugs, drink a
right.
lot of coffee, and I had a Santa mug. They had a big one with the winking. It was winking, so
Uh,
I had to buy one of those my
oh
first
yeah,
trip.
oh yeah,
I couldn't walk out of there empty handed my first trip. So
yeah. Especially stuff like that, man. It's like something you hadn't seen before. It's like, oh, you could leave it and try to come back for it later, but good luck finding it.
right,
Some of that stuff just disappears so fast.
yeah. Well, it's a beautiful building, man. They were supposed to open. We were talking about 2020. They were supposed to open last Christmas,
Uh-huh.
but of course, everything happened and it didn't work out that way for them. But it's open now.
Yeah.
So that one's going to be coming up pretty soon. And I want to do another one. I wanted to do last year, same thing, but everybody couldn't get together. But I want to do a podcast, a figgy pudding
Uh-huh.
versus grandma's banana pudding.
Huh.
You do a taste test with like 10 of us,
Yep.
and everybody write their answer down on the card and everything, and then see which one actually wins. I think I have an idea which one would win, but I won't say anything just yet.
I haven't had figgy pudding before, but I have vowed that this Christmas I will try figgy pudding. And
I mean, you think it had to be something. I mean, they made a song about it.
I
So
know. Yeah,
gotta
yeah.
be something to it.
There's no banana pudding song, is there?
No, but it fit right in there.
Yeah.
Oh, bring me some banana pudding.
Yeah. Yeah. There's no chocolate pudding song or French vanilla pudding song, you know. So
Yeah.
so figgy pudding's, if it's got a song, it's probably got to be the best, you would think.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. We'll find out. We'll find out.
I tried mince pies last year for the first time, and I really liked those quite a bit. Those were pretty good. So we'll see. We'll see how the figgy pudding is. Yeah. Yeah. The mince pies reminded me a lot of a Fig Newton cookie.
Okay.
That's what they reminded me of quite a bit. So, and I like Fig Newtons pretty well. I mean, I can't, I can eat, 2 or 3 here or there every once in a while, but yeah, I really quite enjoyed them. So, but kind of hard to find that stuff around here because our world market, closest world market's in St. Louis, which is a couple hours away. So, yeah, have to make a special trip to get that kind of thing around the holidays.
Right. Right. Well, man, we're talking about food. See this guy right up here?
Yeah.
See this guy?
Uh-huh.
That guy right there. Well, that's do y'all have Waffle Houses out there in Missouri?
We are just a hair too north for a Waffle House. So
okay. But you know what I'm talking about though, right?
Yeah, I absolutely know what you're talking about. Scattered and smothered. That's how I do it.
Yep, scattered, smothered, and covered.
Yep.
But yeah, so I got all these things up here that I collect, man. It has to do with Christmas. Man, probably about 15 years ago, I started. I don't know if you ever seen in the Waffle House, they have these great posters during Christmas. It's Coca-Cola Santa, and these big, huge posters, and every year it's different.
Right.
And so I just started asking them at first. I was like, what are y'all gonna do with that when you're done with it? I would just throw them away. So I started getting them, and after 3 or 4 years, then it's like people started catching on, and then I started. Well, I'll give you $20 for it,
Yeah.
And so I've collected those over the years, and man, like gone way up in price. Now this right here is not a that's not a poster. That's one of those things you just hangs from the ceiling,
Right.
advertisement.
Right.
And but I just so during the holidays we have a sunroom out back, and I line all those posters up all the way around. It's pretty cool when you see them all
Oh
displayed
yeah.
together.
That's cool. I didn't know they did a thing, and now I'm gonna have to be hunting down the Waffle House Christmas posters.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
you know,
yeah. But they're pretty cool. The
yeah,
artwork on them.
yeah. There's some old comic books from the 50s and 60s that were like came out every Christmas, like one issue, and it's like I didn't really know about them, and it's like, oh, I really like to get a hold of those because they're really cool. If you put them up, frame them up, and the covers and stuff are real cool. But it's like to be able to find one in okay enough condition is hard enough, than having to pull yourself to pay for one. It's is another thing, but I think I'm gonna start paying attention more to the displays around the store and seeing if I can't hunt some things down. In fact, I don't know if you could see above my head those two signs that are painted.
Yeah. Hmm.
Right behind that bluish white thing, that's a Hallmark Christmas card display topper. Uh, I use it as a backdrop to kind of cover some of that wall back there to make it look a little bit nicer. But I got that from my friends at our local Hallmark store, so I'll be going in there Friday, and I'm gonna see what they have in there and see what displays they can part with after the holidays. So,
So they have a Hallmark store in your town
yeah,
there.
yeah. So ornaments release on Friday for Keepsake Ornament Club members, and they release Saturday for everybody else. So I'm gonna go uh, Friday when they open and grab mine that have released. And if, for everybody listening to this, I'll be videoing some of that, vlogging some of that, and putting it up here on the YouTube channel. So I'm probably doing unboxing as well. So that should be fun.
Man, I'm gonna have to quit hanging around you because I think you started something. Because I'd never bought a Hallmark Christmas ornament before in my life, man. And then now I have two, so it may have started something. I'm like,
It'll,
man, that Hallmark Club, God, I should have joined that this year. So I'm gonna have to do that for
yes,
next year.
I tell you what, man, and I'm not getting paid by Hallmark or anything like that. I mean, if they want to pay me, I'd listen to offers, but that Keepsake Ornament Club, if you're even remotely interested in those, it's like $50. But the ornaments you get, you can only get through there. And if you just put regular retail price that Hallmark would charge for them, you're getting at least that. And then on top of that, all the coupons you get throughout the year for it. If you're even if you just go in and buy 3 or 4 birthday cards, anniversary cards in total throughout the year, you've more than covered your price for that club.
Mhm.
So it's really a cool thing.
It, yeah, that's all I need is something else to collect. Yeah.
I hear you, man. I got I got I don't know how many Hallmark Christmas ornaments I have. I collect, Funko Pops and a lot of Christmas ones. We have a cookie jar collection, Christmas cookie jar collection. You know, uh, it's mainly my wife's, but I'm just as much into it as well. It just vinyl records. I started off with Christmas vinyl, then I start buying vinyl of just you know people I like and albums I like, and you know got the Nutcracker thing going on. It's it's something. I don't know what it is, but I got that collecting bug, and I just love it. Uh,
Yeah.
it can be real troublesome. I really had to watch myself. I really got crazy a few times, to the point. Well, it's to the point I was like stressing myself out if I was going to be able to get the latest release or not. And it's like, come on, man. I'm like, it's like, well, this, especially when I was in the Funko Pops hot and heavy, people would make these bots, so when one would release online, all the bots would buy them up, and then the people would take them and flip them on eBay for double, triple, or more of what retail price was. So I'm sitting there trying to beat the bots and trying to do these things, and optimizing my phone and my internet. So it was like, come on, it's a plastic bobblehead,
Right.
So, but
Well, man, I understand it because I'm gonna tell the whole world right here on Christmas Clatter, man. Nobody but my family knows this, and one other person that I have a collection. And man, I collect electric percolators of all things, man, from the '60s and '70s.
oh, that's
Uh,
cool.
well, I inherited it from my mom. I mean, my
Uh-huh.
mom's not. She just gave them to me. She's not. She's still alive, but she just gave them to me, and I'm
Uh-huh.
like, what am I going to do with all these percolators? There's 50 of them, and she had them all, in a book. She had them where she bought them.
Uh-huh.
How much she paid for them. What year they were made, where they were made, just all kinds of stuff. And the thing is, almost all of them are still in boxes, man. They haven't even been used. They're from the '60s and '70s. And then so I broke one of them out and made some coffee. And I'm like, man, these things make really good coffee. They're these old percolators. They just got away from those and started going to instant drip coffee makers, the
Yep.
plastic.
Yep.
Because they were more convenient, but they make way better coffee. So I'm like, well, okay. So I started looking on eBay, and I was like, well, that one's cool looking. That's the atomic air from the '60s, and then so I had to get that one, and then every now and then so my wife don't know, I'll get one off eBay when it shows up at the house. She's like, you didn't say you were getting that. And I'm like, no, I just got it. So I've got probably about 15 more since I've
Uh,
inherited that collection, but they're
that
but they're cool. They're
yeah.
fun.
Yeah, that is cool. That's a really cool thing to collect, because it's unusual. But I could see it, man. Those I was thinking back to like my grandparents and stuff. It's like those percolators had a real cool look to them. That mid-century modern look to them, and so they're really cool to look at. And I'm not a
Yeah,
coffee drinker, so I can't test if it's better coffee or not. But I'm sure it is. It seems like anytime you take a little bit more time to make something, it turns out better.
right.
But I can see that. That's funny. I would have never guessed. I bet there's a Facebook group of percolator collectors or something.
There probably is. I need to look that up. I googled it one time, and there was a like a chat room, or a, what do you call
uh,
it, a forum. There was a
right,
forum. I was asking some questions about it, but
right.
I hadn't looked on Facebook. I'm
Yeah.
sure there's probably something.
I'm sure there is. I think there's a group for everything. I remember that commercial they had not long ago. Where there's a group for everybody, kind of thing. So, but that's funny. Uh, I I can totally relate. Let me see real quick here. I'm just gonna. Not seeing any pop up. Let me try one more. I just gotta see for myself on this one.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Well, there's a vintage coffee maker collectors group on Facebook. Is what it's called. So,
Okay.
so I bet
Okay.
that's a place you might belong at, Ken. So,
Yeah, it might be. But I mean, they're really cool. They're simple. They
yeah.
last forever.
Oh
They
yeah.
last forever. So
Yeah. There's not a lot to them, so that just means that there's less to break down.
right.
And but that's cool. I bet you could make a neat little Christmas display with those percolators, you know, decorate them up some way. I don't know. I'm not much
Yeah.
of a designer or anything like that, but I could just kind of see a couple out on the table. It's like like a 50s or 60s Christmas motif around it or something.
Sure. That'd be pretty awesome, wouldn't
Yeah, yeah. Maybe do that Christmas morning. Just have a couple percolators full of Christmas coffee. I really need to quit bumping my
it?
camera, don't I?
I
Um,
I didn't know if that was me or you.
no, it was me. I bumped my camera, so I'll try not to do that anymore. But
Well, well, man, something I can't get enough talking about is your podcast, man. How it got me on the road
right.
to podcasting. I mean, Christmas Clatter, man, is uh, uh, to me is what people are looking for a lot of times. You know, they just like to hear a normal conversation. They like to feel like they've been there. You
Yeah.
know, whenever they get through listening, and yours is that's what attracted me to it. And I mentioned on I think it was my last podcast.
Uh-huh.
Um, you know, every year, man, after the holidays, like in January,
Uh-huh.
I get the post holiday blues, man. I mean,
Yeah.
I get it so bad every year, and for me, it's a sense of loss. And like I said in my
Yeah.
podcast, it's a loss of sense of loss of just all the festivities and the family gatherings and just everything. And uh, this year, whenever I found, you know, had already been listening to your podcast, but I started listening to it. And I was like, man, this is kind of helping. You know, it's kind of weaning me off the holidays for right now.
Yeah.
So that was a big help, man. Listening to Christmas Clatter. And of course, there was others too. I'm kind of fond of Seasons Eatings
Yeah. Glenn does
uh,
a great job.
and Christmas Time in the City.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
there,
Chris and
Chris.
Chris. Yep.
Yep.
They're good people
So the
too. I like them quite a bit. Yeah.
so
Well, I appreciate that. You know, when I started Christmas Clatter, it was a lot different format than what it's evolved into be. And I couldn't, you know, at the time I couldn't really even um, you know, when I first started it, I couldn't even imagine, you know, having people on like every week to talk about Christmas and stuff like that. Of course, I always say, you know, we always tail off and talk about other things, you know, as far as life too, because you know, these conversations I liken them to, you know, chatting with your favorite cousin at the holidays, you know, that kind of thing that you don't see, and it's been, you know, so great being able to talk to so many different people and about Christmas and their experiences and other things. You know, one of the things I'm real proud of is, you know, last month we launched a Christmas Clatter Cares where we'll be highlighting charities every once in a while, and you know, finding a Christmas tie for a charity. Sometimes it's a stretch, but you know, it's something that we need to do. And but I I appreciate that and appreciate, you know, your kind words. But it's been a great journey, and I could have never imagined when I first on a just kind of on a whim without even thinking anything would happen. I contacted, you know, Brian Earl from Christmas Past and was like, "Hey, I'm thinking about starting a podcast," and he was, you know, so helpful and instrumental in getting me going here at Christmas Clatter. Um, he's, you know, he done more to help get this off the ground than I can really even state, and to be able to pass that along to you and a few other people, it's just wonderful. And in fact, I had a friend of mine reach out today, you know, thinking about starting up a podcast. And so it's like, I've done it a few times and I kind of got these steps in my head, you know, I'm like, okay, you know, here's A, B, C, D and stuff. So, but yeah,
mm-hmm.
but that Christmas blues is no joke. It can really weigh on you. In fact, this past year, we left our Christmas stuff up a lot longer than we normally do just because we weren't ready to take it down. You know? And it's like, you know what? If you're not ready to take it down, then don't take it down. Nobody says you have to.
Right. What I mean, just what is that, man? Is that a real thing? I mean, is that like a diagnosed thing, maybe?
Yeah, it is. A lot of people get Christmas blues before Christmas, and that a lot of times that has to do with you know, a seasonal affective disorder where, you know, where it's lack of sunlight and, you know, it's actual physical, biological kind of thing. Sometimes it has to do with, you know, holidays are rough for some people because of tragedy or, you know, a bad family situation. So, you know, that weighs heavy on people. But, you know, people like, you know, during during my holidays and I'm sure like yours, the build up to Christmas is just as exciting as 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 I've always said that the anticipation of Christmas is more exciting than Christmas Day itself. It's like
Right.
that's one of the reasons I just love Christmas Eve. I think I could start a Christmas Eve podcast. You know, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because
Yeah.
it's like the
Yeah.
anticipation is just so fun, you know. And not that Christmas Day isn't fun or special, it surely is, but that anticipation. I think a lot of it, the post Christmas blues, I think a lot of that for people that really love Christmas, it's kind of almost, it's going to be a terrible analogy, but it's the only thing I can think of. It's almost like a hangover or coming down from a high kind of thing. You know, you have all, you know, someone like myself, I have months and months and months of build up and prep and doing all this stuff, and you know, Christmas, you know, parties, events, you know, eyeball deep in the music, the movies, you know, having all this Christmas fun, and then all of a sudden after the first of the year, it's kind of over. The all the stores aren't Christmas anymore. You know, Valentine's Day comes up, you know, right away, and it's like, oh, man, you know, that's one
Yeah.
of the reasons. And this I've addressed this in episode over a year and a half ago. That's one of the reasons I really don't like Valentine's Day, is because on December 26th, when you go to the store, Valentine's decorations are up, and it's like, no, no, I'm not having it. You know, Christmas was just yesterday. You can still have
It's too
Christmas stuff.
soon.
You know, at least wait till after New Year's, you know,
Yeah.
and it's like I don't want to see the Valentine's Day stuff that you know, up right after you know, the day after Christmas. And it's like that just, you know, at no fault of its own, made me a little have a little animosity towards Valentine's Day. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I
Yep.
think,
Absolutely.
you know, around Christmas time, before Christmas time, that's real things people deal with, and it's real thing that people deal with, you know, afterwards too. You know, some of it is people get some extended time off around the holidays, and then it's back to that 9 to 5 Monday through Friday grind kind of thing, and
Yeah.
and that's tough to get back in that swing. So yeah, that Christmas blues is a real thing, and it can be a very serious thing, especially if you're dealing with it before and during the holidays. It can be really serious, and
Yeah.
if you notice it in yourself, you know, reach out to somebody for some help. You know, call your doctor and and talk with them, because if you do have a seasonal affective disorder, that it's pretty treatable, and you just have to, you know, pay attention. You know, some people it's just, you know, being, you know, more intentional, going outside when the sun's out, you know, and going for a walk
Hmm.
and getting a little exercise. And some people it's more serious than that, but they sell, it's crazy, they sell these lamps on, you can buy them on Amazon that mimic the sunlight, and you can sit under the lamp for, you know, a few minutes every day and kind of get that vitamin D flowing again,
Right.
and get to feeling better. And that you know, that's a big thing. A lot of people walking around nowadays vitamin D deficient. And, you know, they take care of that. So
Or you could just listen to Christmas podcasts.
yeah, yeah,
Take care of it, man. You know,
yeah,
you can do that.
yeah.
You know, take your pick. But man,
I,
you know, uh, uh, you were talking about you know, the all the time leading up to the holidays.
huh.
But you know, as my son got older, we just have one kid. As he got older, you know, we found like, well, Christmas Eve, you know, we wasn't really doing anything, you know,
Uh huh.
and so the last couple of years, I started asking around, and there was a lot of other people in the same shape. They're just so we started having a party on Christmas Eve. Everybody just bring food,
Right.
not family, just you know, friends and neighbors, you
Uh
know,
huh.
come over, and you know, we had like 40, 35, 40 people
Oh
just
wow.
show up and just for a few hours just on Christmas Eve and hang out. So we started
Yeah.
doing that to get all we
Oh.
can out of it, you
Oh
know,
yeah.
before Christmas Day.
I understand that. We When I was a kid, we used to go to my grandparents' house on Christmas Eve, which was my mom's parents, because their wedding anniversary was Christmas Eve. So we knocked out their wedding anniversary and Christmas with them on Christmas Eve, and now depending on schedules, you know, um, it's no secret. You know, I was married once before and have a couple boys from my first marriage, and depending on the schedule with the boys on Christmas Eve, you know, sometimes we have our main Christmas with my parents on Christmas Eve, you know, or if we don't, um, you know, we still get to, no matter what, we still get together at my mom and dad's for lunchtime because her family comes over then, and then in the evening, if I have my boys, then that's when we'll have Christmas with my parents, and then if I don't get the boys till Christmas Day, we usually will go to like a 7 a.m. Candlelight communion at our local church kind of thing, and that's usually our typical Christmas Eve. But yeah, that neighborhood party, it sounds wonderful. Might stop in one
Yeah,
of these years.
yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I didn't realize there was that many people that really didn't have anything to do Christmas
Right,
Eve. You know,
right.
till I got to asking around.
All right. Well, that's that's the big thing is Christmas Eve and Christmas. A lot of people once families get older, Christmas gets moved to some other time when everybody can get together.
Mhm.
And I know I have an aunt and uncle. They got two kids older than me, and sometimes they're having like Christmas on like the 14th or like the 28th or something like that. It just depends on when everybody can get together to do it. And
Mhm.
and there's nothing wrong with that. It you do what you can, but yeah, there's a lot of people that on Christmas Eve just kind of their their plans are for Christmas are not on those days, and it is nice to be able to have something to do besides to have a party like that, to at least get together with some friends and stuff and celebrate either way. But
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Well, let me ask you this, man.
All right.
On Christmas Day, do you have ham, turkey? What do you have? What
Both.
what what do y'all have on Christmas Day? Both?
Yep, ham and turkey.
Okay, all right. Because on my let's see, I think it was the last podcast, or it's either the one coming up. I don't know if it's out yet or not. But I was talking about when I was growing up. All my family in West Tennessee lived
Uh
out lived out in the country. Christmas, dude, they had fried chicken on Christmas Day, man. We never had instead of a Christmas ham or turkey,
right.
And I was just wondering if we were the only ones. I just grew up having that.
Yeah.
And I got older. I'm like, wait a minute, people are talking about ham and
Yeah.
stuff. I mean, you aren't having fried chicken on Christmas Day.
I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to it, but usually, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's ham and turkey. I know in Japan that fried chicken's big on Christmas, because of marketing from Kentucky Fried Chicken. But
Really?
yeah, but other than that, that's really all I know about fried chicken on
Yeah.
Christmas. But
Man,
must
you
be
just never know what you're going to learn on Christmas Clatter, man.
no, no,
You know,
but yeah, we'll do ham and turkey is usually what we do. We'll have both, but I
Mhm.
have um I have this tradition um for every holiday, because Easter we'll have ham and we'll have ham on with Thanksgiving too, and someone always brings those little Hawaiian sweet rolls or whatever they are, King's Hawaiian rolls,
Yeah. Oh
those
yeah.
little ones, and my wife always makes these deviled eggs. She makes bacon and jalapeno deviled eggs, and I love those things. Well, I love the meal, but I love like the leftovers a little bit more for some reason. And I
Oh
have
yeah.
this tradition for Easter, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. I make what I call a Easter basket sandwich, where I'll go get one of them little Hawaiian rolls, and I'll throw a piece of ham on there. I'll throw one of the deviled eggs on there and make a sandwich out of it. And
Wow, that
everybody
sounds
look
good.
everybody looks at me sideways, but I'm like, this is my little Easter basket sandwich. So that's like my
Yeah.
food tradition for all the holidays is for especially for the leftovers. So
Right. Well, then, for Thanksgiving, we cook turkey about 2 weeks before. My son and I do.
Uh-huh.
Have you ever seen that video I did on trash can turkey? I think I mentioned that in one of my
Yeah.
podcasts as
Yeah.
well.
You mentioned it. I don't think I've seen the whole thing yet.
Well, I started cooking them like that, and you can cook a whole turkey in 90 minutes, and I
Oh
mean it's
wow.
done to a golden brown and juicy,
Uh-huh.
and I never get enough turkey at Thanksgiving,
Right.
so we started about 2 weeks before Thanksgiving just to because I couldn't wait,
Right.
for the holidays to get going, so we just started. That's our tradition for us is about 2 weeks before Thanksgiving we'll do a trash can turkey
Right.
every year, so
Yeah.
just so I can get my feel of it.
Oh yeah. I'm with you. I'll eat the turkey and eat the turkey and eat the turkey, and dark meat, white meat, I don't, it doesn't matter to me. But it's just, you just don't eat it year round. I don't know why. I mean, they're available, but I guess just taking the time to make one or something like that. And every once in a while, we'll do like usually 1st of August. Uh, my family gets together every other Sunday for a big family lunch. And usually about the 1st of August or so, we'll do what we call a Thanksgiving prep. And that's where we'll just kind of fix a mini Thanksgiving dinner for lunch on that Sunday. And
Hmm.
usually we'll just do like we'll just buy like a turkey breast or something, a little bit smaller, and do that. Do some sweet potatoes and green bean casserole and that kind of thing. But
That's pretty awesome.
yeah, it's because you get through the July and you get the dog days in August where things are real dry and humid, and it's like, oh, just have a little Thanksgiving meal here to kind of get our mind right for the holidays, I guess.
Right, right. Kind of get moving in that direction.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. But yeah, it's people. You always ask people, well, what's your traditions? And everybody's like, oh, same thing as everybody else. It's like, it might be the same general thing, but it's not always exactly the same.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
neat to.
Well, there's a tradition that we do is on Thanksgiving. It's we turn Thanksgiving into a 2-day feast actually,
Oh, yeah.
and we call the second day, the day after Thanksgiving, we call it Scrap Day,
Oh, yeah.
because my father-in-law one year he was getting on up in age and he called our house and he couldn't remember the word leftovers. So he called and he said, and he asked us, he said, what time are y'all coming over for scraps?
Yeah.
And so he started calling it scrap day, just the leftovers. So what we do now, man, we cook enough for 2 days. So the
Yeah.
second day is full blown, just like the first day is.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to start calling it scrap day. That's hilarious. Yeah. What we'll do is, we'll have leftovers. We'll have normal like Thanksgiving leftovers that Friday. And then if there's any turkey left after that, which is usually some left, um, my wife Holly brings it home with her, and she'll make turkey enchiladas out of it,
Okay.
and then take it back over to mom and dad's, and that's how we finish up the turkey. Is we'll have enchiladas, which is a little bit different, Mexican food, so it's not the same thing again, and
Right.
that's pretty tasty. You never had a
Yeah, that
turkey
sounds good.
Yeah, you never had a turkey enchilada, you're missing out. So
Yeah. No, I've never had that.
yeah, she makes this real incredible enchilada sauce, and it's always a big hit. So,
Right.
but that's kind of our leftover tradition is uh turkey enchiladas. So
Yeah.
but I thought, well, you make them with beef and chicken, might as well make it with turkey as well. So,
Yeah. Yeah. I bet that is good. I'll have to remember that one this year.
yeah, yeah. But I love that scraps day. Couldn't remember
Yeah.
leftovers. It sounds like something I'd do.
Yeah. He said, what time y'all coming over for, he said, oh, hell, what time y'all coming over for scraps? That's what he said.
Oh yeah.
And so ever since then, we've called it Scrap Day.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Scrap day. Oh my goodness. I know exactly what you said too.
Yeah. And it,
Yeah.
do what?
I said I knew exactly what he meant too. I hadn't heard it called scraps in a while, but I knew exactly what
Yeah.
he was talking
Yeah.
about.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
With go ahead.
I was just gonna say in our family, man, I'm they call me the pie guy.
Yeah.
My on my wife's side of the family because
Uh-huh.
like I always make a bunch of pies and everything. So I make two every year. I make two blueberry pies, two pecan pies, and then two pumpkin pies,
Oh wow.
and all from scratch, and just so we have enough for both days. You know.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So I like
Yeah.
to bake and stuff,
Oh yeah. My wife
especially
make
pies.
my wife makes one of the most incredible apple pie I've ever ate. So
Oh, does she?
yes, it's really good. So she won our county fair, best in
Oh
show in
wow.
first place with her pie. So might have to get you guys together and have a pie
Yeah.
off.
Yeah. Yeah, I make a pretty good blueberry pie, but
Yeah.
it's never won any awards or anything.
Yeah.
But
Oh, I'd like to try that. I want to try your pumpkin pie. So I've been on
yeah,
this mission for the the best pumpkin pie. My dad's mom used to make this really incredible pumpkin pie. This was so good. And she passed away and we can't find the recipe, and we found what we thought was the recipe, but it was just the list of ingredients, you know. And I think that's all she used. She just kind of winged it from there.
oh,
And it's
okay.
like we can't get the combination right. I mean, we could make some good pumpkin pies, but nothing like that.
It's not the same.
Yeah. So and I used to not like pumpkin pie at all until about, I don't know, 5 years ago or something. It got to be, it was after Labor Day before Halloween. And I was like, one day I woke up and I was like, dang, I want a piece of pumpkin pie, So,
Yeah, yeah,
and ever since then, it's like, I don't know. It's like I love the stuff and, pumpkin rolls and stuff. In fact, I bought from a local store a little jar of pumpkin butter. And now when I need a little taste of the holidays, I'll make a piece of toast and put some pumpkin butter on it.
yeah.
It'll satisfy that itch for the holiday foods.
Well, man, talking about pumpkins, you know, I made pumpkin pie ice cream this year for the first time for
Oh,
our
really?
ice cream social. Yeah,
Oh,
I made cherry and pumpkin pie ice cream. I've
uh-huh.
been threatening to do that for several years and just never had got the time to do it. And so life slowed down a little bit this year, and man, it tastes just like pumpkin pie. Everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, this is just like eating pumpkin pie ice cream." I said, "Well,
Yeah.
yeah, because that's what it is, pumpkin pie ice cream."
Oh, yeah. I'd like to try
But
that. I've
it,
had homemade carrot cake ice cream before. That was really good, but I'd like to try that pumpkin pie ice cream.
oh man, it's awesome. I mean, it really is. I was like, "Oh man,
Yeah.
it's just like eating pumpkin pie."
Yeah. You a carrot cake
But
fan?
yeah, I mean, I like it all pretty
Yeah,
much.
me too. You don't get a
It,
body like mine by passing up food.
me
So
neither, brother. I'm right there with you. You don't get our figures by smelling good food. You know, we eat it.
yeah. Oh, I'm kind of a carrot cake snob. I'll One time I was at a church potluck and someone said they made carrot cake. I'm like, all right, carrot cake. I love carrot cake. It's like one of my favorites. And I go over and it's like cutting a piece and it's on this little individual plate over there. And so I like picked it up and I set it right back down and got something else. And I was like, why didn't you get the carrot cake? And I said, it was too light. That piece was too light. It needs to be heavier to be good carrot cake. And so if I don't pick up that styrofoam plate and it starts to kind of bend a little bit, it's not good carrot cake. It's got to
You're
have
right.
density to it. So
Yeah. Well, you are a carrot cake snob.
yeah, I am a carrot cake. I'm sorry. Yeah. But yeah,
Yeah, well, I'm kind of that way about ice cream now.
yeah.
We've been making it. Ice cream social was this was our 19th year for
Oh
having
wow,
it,
that's
and
awesome.
so I made a lot of ice cream in the last 20 years or so.
Yeah,
Experimenting seeing what would work and what don't work.
Yeah. So for your pumpkin pie ice cream, what'd you do? Make a pie and then chop it up and throw in there? Or?
Dude, I made my vanilla ice. I have a recipe for vanilla ice cream,
Uh-huh.
and I just took all the ingredients that goes in the pumpkin pie and
Uh,
dumped them in there. And
oh
that's all
wow.
I did. That's all I did, and it turned out great. The very first time,
Oh wow.
I figured I was going to have to adjust it some way or
Right.
another, but no, dude, it was right
Yeah.
off the bat. It was good. The only thing I might do is bake a pie crust,
But I was going
and
getting
then
ready to ask if you had pieces of crust or something in there.
no, I don't, but I think
Yeah.
next time I will. And
Yeah.
then crumble it up and throw that in there.
Yeah. Yeah. You could, bake the pie crust. You can even bake it flat and then cut it into little pieces to throw in there.
Yeah,
So, oh
probably
yeah.
put probably put two pie crust in there. Just
Yeah.
that would be good.
Oh yeah.
Have
Yeah.
that give it a lot of good texture in there.
Oh yeah. That'd be wonderful.
Man, Seasons Eatings needs to come over and listen to us, man.
I'm telling you what, Glenn, what are you doing? If you're listening to this, come on, man. You need to take a tour of the South here. I'm between
Right.
Ken here in Sanidad. I'm just touring the South. They're getting all kinds of good ideas for this stuff. So
Yeah. Yeah, man. If you get ready to make some homemade ice cream, holler at me and I'll tell you what to put in there
oh yeah, I
for the
definitely
pumpkin
will.
pie.
We used to have an ice cream maker. I don't know whatever happened to it, but it it was you know for a while there it was used pretty well, and then not sure what happened.
Well,
Kind of got too busy doing other things, I guess. So
yeah. Yeah, it's like everything else, man. It
yeah,
takes time to do it.
yeah,
So and we get busy doing things and with
yeah,
life and we just don't have time to do that. That's what when we have our ice cream social, that's what we have that on the summer solstice every year, the longest day of the year.
right.
And we no matter what, man, that's what the day we're doing it. And
Uh,
we make homemade ice cream and we just sit out there. And this year the weather was perfect and
oh yeah,
not a soul left before dark. That's our
yeah,
goal is just sit out there and eat ice cream and talk and just
yeah,
hang out until dark.
yeah.
And because we don't get to do that much anymore with
No,
today's society. And so this year it was fantastic.
yeah, it is.
The weather was nice.
I think that's some of the reason people hang on to like Christmas and Thanksgiving so much anymore. I mean, not that they didn't before, but I think that's part of the nostalgia. Is I remember as a kid, you'd get company, just show up at your door. Your aunt and uncle would show up the door, you know, unannounced, and everybody's like, "Hey, we got company," and everybody was excited, and they'd visit, and then, they'd, be like, "We got to leave," and they'd stand up in the living room and visit for another hour, and they're like, "We need to leave," and then they'd stand out in the driveway for another hour, trying to leave, and now when like people pulls up in the driveway unannounced, it's like, oh boy, what are they here for? And you know, people miss that interaction and that spending time that community, you know, feeling. It's something that people really, really miss. And hopefully, we've mentioned about COVID and stuff before and last year. Hopefully with people having to be so um isolated from one another, hopefully we'll kind of bounce back from that, desiring to spend actual time with people, instead of being so busy all the time or so locked in on our screens. But hopefully
Mhm.
hopefully that we could take these lessons and these things that we enjoy around the holidays, or even not so much the holidays, but like your ice cream social, just a planned event that's like, hey, this, we're going to get together and we're going to enjoy each other's company and spend time with each other, and really build up a relationship and a community there, where neighbors are neighbors again. So
Right, right. Yeah, man. Talking about community. Did I ever tell you about the year that we went Christmas mumbling?
uh-uh.
Well, when we first moved in this neighborhood, it was great, man. We met all of our neighbors, and neighborhood I live in is an older neighborhood. Houses built in the 50s and
Mhm.
some of them 40s, and we all got together. We were going Christmas caroling, so it was great, man. They had all the words printed out. and about I guess it was at least half of the people there were in the choirs at their churches,
Uh-huh.
and so we went Christmas caroling, that year, and sounded really good. The next year it sounded really good, and something we look forward to. Well, the third year, something happened, and the people from the church that was in the choir, they had another obligation. They couldn't make it, so
Uh-huh.
that left the rest of us that could. I mean, nobody could sing. I mean, we didn't even know the words. We didn't have the words printed out, but we thought, we knew them well enough to sing them.
Uh-huh.
And man, we were horrible, dude. So we were just like Christmas mumbling. We weren't even singing, because nobody knew the words. We didn't sound good. I have the voice where I sit in the back and just kind of try to blend in and not offend anybody. And so we made the joke after that, are we going Christmas mumbling this year?
Yeah, because
But we only went to about 3 houses, and we're like, man, this is not working so good,
yeah, everybody knows the words till it's showtime.
Sure. Yeah, but all the good singers, weren't there.
Yeah.
So there was about half of them was carrying the whole group.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally relate to that. I've had several Christmas mumbling incidents myself, and and a lot of times I would know the words, but I don't sing very well at all, and it's like I don't want to be front and center trying to get everybody, reminding everybody what the words were, but it's like nobody thought of anything to thought of any of the songs to sing till we all showed up. I'm like, well, okay, what are we going to sing? It's like, let's sing this. Nah, it's too hard. Nobody knows the words. It's like someone needs to take charge and print off about 3 or 4 songs, and so we can be on the same page here. But I understand that. That's hilarious. Oh
yeah,
man.
we stick to Jingle Bells. Everybody knows that. You
Oh
don't
yeah.
have to be a particularly good singer to get through that
Right.
one.
Yep. That one's easy enough, and usually you can get through enough. You can get through that first verse of Silent Night. That's usually good enough. So yeah. The big one is Away in the Manger. It's like one everybody knows, but it's like after you get past Away in the Manger, it's like, or there's people that know the second verse of that, but they think it's the first one, and it all gets mixed up pretty quick. But
Right.
well, Ken, tell everybody where they can find Faces to Places.
Well, Faces to Places. I'm on Facebook at Faces to Places Podcast, and same on Instagram. I'm not on Twitter and all that stuff. I hadn't got that far yet. I'm still just trying to get everything figured out. But you can look us up. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram, and just any place you can listen to a podcast. I'm on just about everywhere.
All right, and for those that need it, the links to his Facebook, Instagram, and to his podcast will be in the show notes in the description. And Ken, thanks for joining me here at Christmas Clatter. Hopefully you'll come back soon.
Sure, man. Thank you. I had a great time. I can sit there and talk about this stuff all night because every time we mention something, it leads into another thought, and I can keep going. But thanks for having me. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you. And for those listening here on YouTube, remember here at Christmas Clatter, we keep Christmas hope alive every day.